Good morning. 5:30 in the morning. Time to start sketching. We gather up about a toy out of the Random Object Randomogrifier. We've got about 400 of these toys in these little canisters. We throw the toy up on this little stage here. However it lands up here is how we're supposed to draw it. I have been known to pose them in specific ways, but most times I just throw them up there. And I'm drawing from this perspective. You're looking from this perspective, so things may be a little different. But we'll see how it goes this morning. This morning it is a tiger. And so we're going to go ahead and make sure we're recording everywhere we're supposed to be recording. And we're going to turn the page and get started. How's everybody doing this morning? It is 5:30 on a Sunday morning. So many people still asleep. I should be one of those people. Today was a good day for sleep. The weather's perfect for sleep. It's cool outside right now still. It's warming up. We're in Houston. So it's warming up, but it's still fairly cool outside. Been kind of stormy. All of that makes you just want to stay in bed. Does me anyway. Yeah, feeling lazy. Had a good day at my folks yesterday. We went and played board games with my mom and my youngest daughter. Came home, made a pencil box. We'll see how that goes because it's drying right now. Alright, that's the composition phase. Make sure everything's going to fit where I want it to go. It's not entirely accurate, but it's not completely inaccurate either, so we want to get the anchor points in. I have to be very careful not to move my head during this part because what will happen is I'll move my head and change my perspective, and then once I change my perspective, the shadows are different, the angles are different. Kind of like what I showed you at the beginning. You're looking from the top and I'm looking from the side. It makes for a very different view. Can't talk, Harding. So this is a tiger laying up on its side, if you couldn't tell. And I have to be honest with you, I cheated a little today. Last night, when I pulled the object from the Random Object Randomogrifier, we've had a policeman, a princess, a mermaid. What else do we have? We had like 5 humans in a row, which means I had the same set, not mixed up. Just whatever the set was, it was the same. It was the same set of toys 5 days in a row. several days in a row anyway. And I pulled a cowboy out last night. And I said, you know what? No, this is just not mixed up. And so I put the cowboy back in the mix and pulled a different one. And that's cheating because it's not random. But we still have something to draw, so. My split screen is showing the mermaid. You know what? So is mine. Time out. Thank you for bringing that to my attention because I am not watching that. Nope, that's the wrong one. Where is that one? Why is that locked off? Now it's showing a tiger. Now it's showing the tiger, but it's showing the tiger too in the wrong spot. That's okay, we'll fix it real quick. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Sorry for technical difficulties there, everyone. There we go. That should solve that problem. What's he drawing? I don't know. There's supposed to be a picture. So anyway, that's cheating. But it's not very random if it's not mixed up. I put cayenne in my coffee in the mornings, and the burn is fantastic. Coffee's just the right temperature. It just makes me want to gulp it down, but cayenne doesn't really dissolve in coffee. I need to find something a little more water soluble. anybody knows a spicy spice that's water soluble, let me know. I moved my head and changed my perspective. That's no bueno. Alright, let's clean up some of these stray lines. The only problem with it laying like this is you can't see the stripes. Well, I say the only problem. It's not the only problem. But when you can't see the stripes, you know, it's good because there's no preconceived ideas of what a tiger looks like distracting me from the picture, distracting me from what I actually see, because at this angle it's just circles and lines. El tigre. El tigre. Okay. Now let's start shading it in. This is where it gets fun, because first off, that line shouldn't be that pronounced. I need to know where that delineation is, but I don't need it to be so pronounced. I don't need it to be so pronounced that you can't, that you look like you have a line between your hair and your back. Do. Do. I was reading up on tigers yesterday. I thought it was interesting to find out that because of their endangered status, the countries where they're mostly native have started doing things like installing corridors for the tigers to travel to mate and hunt. And so they have a traffic corridor. And it reminded me of that lady that called in on the radio station complaining about the deer in the road. She said, "I just don't understand why they don't cross at the crossings." Like, how do you get the tiger to follow the corridor? Sorry. You write them tickets. I just don't understand why they don't cross at the crosswalk. They have a deer crossing sign up. Why don't the deer cross at the deer crossing? Why don't the tigers stay in the corridors? We built all these corridors for them. Anyway, that's all I think of when I see that they make corridors for the tigers. I'm like, but your city is where the tigers go. Hi, Elizabeth. Elizabeth has joined us in the chat. It's pretty relaxed morning today, Elizabeth. Things are pretty quiet around here. You're in the Netherlands, right? How's things there this morning? Hopefully just as quiet. Yeah, Netherlands. And what happened to my religious views? Are they still around? They wandered in just prior to the show, but it was like 5 minutes early. All right. I think we have most of the shading done. Get that tail real quick. Real quick, he said. Your definition of real quick and my definition of real quick must not be the same. Alright, let's clean up the lines. That religious views is sleeping in their chair. Elizabeth says it's great for a sunny Sunday. For those of you, sounds like my dad. It's the kind of thing my dad would do. Log in, turn it on, just doze off. The cool thing about drop shadows is it usually defines the edges that you lose. Because it's only really black right where it's touching a contact shadow. So if you've got a shape you're trying to preserve, a contact shadow will help you out. Those sleepy Sunday afternoons, sunny Sunday afternoons. See, today I have figure drawing and I'm already trying to figure out how to get out of it because all I want to do is go back to bed. The figure drawing is not for hours and hours and hours. I don't have to go until 1 o'clock. It doesn't start till 1 o'clock, and it's a little under an hour away. So I don't have to leave until about noon. And it's funny because I really enjoy figure drawing. I always just say I'm drawing naked people. I really enjoy it. But I'm already trying to find excuses not to go. Is anybody else that way? It can't just be me. Matter of fact, I know it's not just me. But and you're talking about something I really enjoy doing. And I'm already trying to figure out ways not to do it. When I squint at this, the shadow on the tiger is darker than the shadow on the paper because the tiger is not touching the paper. So when I squint at this, that way when I fill in the shading on the paper, the background shading, it will make sense because it won't be as dark. The only reason that's most important is because it's what will provide form. It's what shows our tiger is up in the air. Just like that bounce back light right there. Shows our tiger is up in the air. If you don't have that bounce back light, your tiger's just two-dimensional on the paper. Hey, Anna. Yeah, it's 5:57 in the morning, Elizabeth. Can I zoom in? I can do this. Yeah, that's what gives it form. We were talking about when the that little bounce back of light in your shading is what makes your brain see the drawing is round. Because if it was solid with no bounce back lighting, brain would read that as flat and angular. That's the eraser. You see, like right there, we've lost that. See how we've lost that bounce back light right there? We're going to put it back. We've got the kneaded eraser nice and warm and soft, and I've got it made into a little paddle there, and I'm just going to go through and I'm going to put just a little highlight right there to put that bounce back light on that inside of that leg. And right there at the base of that tail. And that's going to make it, see how it changed. I don't know if you can see. You can see how it changed and gave it form, whereas before it was very flat. Alright, now the next thing to remember, the last thing to remember, is that the whole thing is not white. Because the whole thing is not white, we have to go through and we have to separate it from the paper. But when you do, remember to go over the shadows too. Don't try to stay out of the shadows, because then your shadows, then you'll darken your image and you'll leave your shadows the same, and now the value between your shadows and your image will not be right. So you just have to take a minute and separate it from the paper, and then go through and make sure you've got all the stray lines taken care of. Especially if you're moving quickly like that, you want to make sure that you didn't what's up with that face? Why does it look like a bear face and not a tiger face? And not a cat? That would be this stray mark right here, making it look like a... That music is doing that thing that it did yesterday. It's like it's duplicating itself. I may have to remove that song from the list. I like having the music, but I don't want it to be loud and distracting. Hopefully it wasn't loud and distracting for you. It was just loud and distracting here in the studio. Elizabeth says that she wouldn't be able to get her fingers moving at 5:30 in the morning. Elizabeth, I'm one of those 4:30 a.m. people. I wake up between 4 and 4:30 every morning, Monday through Friday, every day of the year. It does not matter whether it's my day off. It does not matter does not matter if it's a weekend. It does not matter. I wake up at 4:30 every morning. And people say, oh, you just trained your body to do it because you've been getting up for so long. No, I did it when I was a kid. But when I was a kid, it was easier to go back to sleep. I think we're going to call that one. You know, it took me a while. I'm looking at the chat, and it's Ana Paula Otero illustration. And I'm going to tell you, it took me way too long to figure out that you weren't just typing illustration at the very beginning of everything you were saying. It was like Ana Paula Otero, illustration, nice tip. Illustration, yeah, better. Illustration, I already saw. Illustration, thanks. Illustration, great. It took me this long to figure out you weren't typing out illustration. That's part of your name. I'm sitting here going, wow, really dedicated to that. But I think we're going to call this one See, like right here, we lost this highlight on this arm on this forelimb. Okay, I do want to go in and add some padding details on these feet. I started to call it. The thing is, and we go through this every morning, it's so easy to get lost in these details. You can spend as much time or as little time as you want doing this. This is just supposed to be a relaxing way to get your day going with art. But it is super easy to get way caught up in the details. What's going on right there? I'll tell you what's going on right there. I moved my head and lost my perspective on this is the paw, this is the shadow. Easily fixed. Alright, I'm calling it. Because again, you can get caught up in these details. What is today? The 27th? So now, let's see if I can pose it in such a way that you can see it the way I see it. Do do do. Do do do. Well, it's not going to work like that for sure. But I wonder if I could do it this way. Nope. we still have some bugs we're working out here. Trying to make sure that everything goes smoothly. That's about it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Let you see what I see. That's too high though. I don't know how to make it. We're just going to stick with what we do. Alright. Now you can see this way what we ended up with. So anyway guys, that's the daily sketch for today, drinking coffee. The Spanish word of the day was obviously el tigre. And this has been a lot of fun. It's been a nice peaceful Sunday morning. Had a couple of extra people join us this morning. I really appreciate that. Anna Paula Otero illustration, Elizabeth Nerok, and I don't even, did I say that? Is it even close to how to pronounce that? Nerok. She's in the Netherlands. Anna, where are you? I didn't catch where you are. They're someplace where Elizabeth has King's Day yesterday, where they celebrate the King's birthday, and the whole Netherlands turns orange. That sounds like fun. I'm trying to give the video a chance to catch up with the lag. Oh, she says it's great how I say it. Thank you. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. We try to do this every morning so far. It's my surname backwards. Okay. But we try to do this every morning at 5:30 in the morning, and look forward to seeing some of you tomorrow. I know that it's easier for the people who are on the other side of the planet to come at lunch than it is for some of us to get up at 5:30. But I hope everybody has a great day. And let's see here, so I can say, oh no, that's not what I wanted at all. That is not what I wanted at all. I wanted this. Mwah. Thank you so much for coming out, everybody. Peace out. Have a great day. Look, I'm wearing pink because it's Sunday. I've been wearing pink for 3 days.